Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, the FBI has arrested a man after he reportedly plotted a terrorist attack. And President-elect Donald Trump's rapid-fire cabinet picks are shaking up Washington.
And we're seeing a little bit of rain being picked up on live pinpoint Doppler radar, but when will it clear out? Details in a few minutes.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A Texas man is behind bars accused of planning and researching his own potential attacks on American soil. The FBI made the arrest last week and is now sharing details of the reported terror plot with the public. CNN's Laura Aguirre reports.
We've taken a suspected terrorist off the streets of Houston, Texas.
A suspect who the FBI accuses of discussing plans for a 9/11-style attack somewhere in the U.S.
He bragged that he would commit a 9/11-style attack if he only had the resources. And he expressed the desire to join the U.S. military just so he could commit an act once he was inside their ranks.
28-year-old Anas Saeed was arrested last week outside of his Houston apartment.
A search of Saeed's electronic devices allegedly revealed pro-ISIS images and communications. Such communications included the discussion on his alleged plans to commit violent acts in Houston and his desire even to use an explosive belt.
Following his arrest, Saeed allegedly told investigators that his planning included researching the layouts and security measures of Houston's synagogues and the Israeli consulate, along with creating ISIS recruitment materials.
Saeed allegedly created and edited at least 5 videos and 2 images that he then sent to an alleged ISIS social media and web designer.
Saeed has been charged with 1 count of attempting to provide material to a designated foreign terrorist organization. If convicted, he faces up to 20 years in prison. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
The head of Houston's FBI office says Saeed is an American citizen born in Houston, but he spent a good part of his childhood living with family in Lebanon. The trial for the man accused of killing a nursing student in Georgia is underway. Jose Ibarra was charged with the murder of Laken Riley. Prosecutors say Ibarra had gone looking for women on the University of Georgia's campus before encountering the victim. Body camera footage played in court by the prosecution showed the moment where a University of Georgia Police Department officer found Riley's body back in February. A former Detroit Lions linebacker has been charged with assaulting law enforcement during the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. 31-year-old Antoine Williams was arrested in Georgia yesterday. According to a criminal complaint against him, Williams was reportedly one of the first rioters to breach the Capitol. Williams was caught on video hitting one officer on the head and shoving others.
Welcome to the weekend, and it was a dreary start to the weekend. Right now we have cloudy skies and some rain being picked up on live pinpoint Doppler radar. You can see a few renegade showers across eastern Kentucky, but the majority of us right now staying mostly cloudy. This is the scene right now from Buffalo Mountain. You can see those low-lying clouds just making for a dreary Friday night across eastern Kentucky. Temperatures are in the 40s and 50s. We're at 48 in Hazard, 50 in Prestonsburg, as well as Jackson. Irvin's at 51, Manchester's at 52, Somerset is at 54 degrees. Then you go from Wise up to Pikeville over towards Logan in West Virginia. We're seeing temperatures in the mid to upper 40s. Now, when you wake up tomorrow morning, we'll see temperatures in the low to mid 40s, low 40s towards Wise, as well as Clintwood and Grundy, 44 in Hazard, 43 Jackson, 41 Somerset, Monticello going down to 39. Pikeville will make it to 46 degrees. Now, coming up in the first alert forecast, we're going to talk about the weekend. One day is much nicer than the other. Both days we'll see mostly sunny skies, though. But then we have to address the elephant in the room about next week, and we'll talk about that in the first alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
All right, not sure I want to hear it. Thank you, Eric. Republicans, who will soon be in control over both the House and Senate, are at odds over whether to push forward with confirmation for some of President-elect Trump's choices to join his administration. CBS's Nicole Sganga has more from Capitol Hill.
The debate over Senate confirmation for some of President-elect Donald Trump's more controversial cabinet picks is already underway on Capitol Hill.
I think the Senate should do everything they possibly can to approve those and to nominate them and get them through the confirmation process.
There are, I think, a number of nominees that have got a lot of tough questions to answer.
House members left for the weekend without an ethics committee vote on whether to release a report looking into allegations of sexual misconduct by former Congressman Matt Gaetz, Trump's choice for Attorney General.
A report is apparently in some draft form and was going to be released on what is now a former member of the House. I do not believe that that is an appropriate thing. It doesn't follow our rules and tradition.
But some lawmakers on both sides of the aisle say the report should be made public.
I think it's important for them to have all critical information that they need to make an intelligent decision.
When you have these sort of complaints and investigations, it's always better to find out before than after.
Another cabinet pick that could face a confirmation battle here on Capitol Hill, Trump's choice to lead the Department of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
I just looked at the news reports. People like you, Bobby. Don't get too popular, Bobby.
Kennedy's anti-vaccine activism has several lawmakers questioning whether he should oversee the nation's public health agenda.
All my kids are vaccinated, and I hope he's not going to move against one of the most life-saving technologies in the history of the world.
Kennedy is also facing another challenge from some conservatives. Former Vice President Mike Pence called on Republicans to block Kennedy's nomination because of his record supporting abortion rights. Nicole Skenga, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
A pro-life group which is aligned with President-elect Trump, Americans United for Life, issued a statement backing Kennedy's selection, calling him a, quote, newcomer to the conservative pro-life movement. President Joe Biden is capping off his term with a diplomatic whirlwind. The president is in Peru today for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. Some analysts say it's an awkward time for him to gather with APEC leaders because he is leaving office. Sources say many heads of state are pivoting their focus to President-elect Donald Trump. Analysts say Trump's America First policy vision leaves allies in an uncertain position. Come January, Republicans will control the White House, House of Representatives, and Senate. But for the 119th Congress, House Democrats will have at least 2 more seats next session than they did for this Congress. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says his party worked hard but came up short during the election. WYMT Washington correspondent Ryan Henson asked Jeffries about his party's minority status.
We're going to have a unique role as House Democrats to make sure that we are partnering with the incoming administration when possible to make a difference in the lives of the American people, while pushing back against far-right extremism whenever necessary. And that's a team effort.
Jeffries is expected to win a second term as minority leader when his party holds leadership elections on Tuesday. More than 20 people are sick and in the hospital with E. coli following a high school banquet in Missouri. The illnesses stem from an off-campus event involving students at a high school near St. Louis. The St. Louis County Department of Public Health is investigating the E. coli outbreak. So far, officials have not said where the banquet was hosted, nor have they identified the source of the outbreak. The threat of post-surgery complications remains a concern in the United States. According to a study published this week in the BMJ Medical Journal, more than 1/3 of people have adverse effects after going under the knife, and roughly 20% of those issues were caused by medical errors. The study was small, only looking at about 1,000 patients in Massachusetts. Suicides in the military increased last year. According to a new report by the Pentagon, there were 523 suicides across the military last year. That's compared to 493 in 2022. While the Army recorded the most suicides of any military branch in 2023, officials say preliminary numbers found a decrease in Army suicides this year. Military officials say the reason for the Army's improvement is because of an emphasis on safe storage for guns and drugs. More and more American teens are feeling burnout and the need to achieve it all. According to a new report from Common Sense Media, more than 1/4 of American teens ages 13 to 17 feel this way due to so-called grind culture. That's the pressure teens face to excel in academics, social life, and even how they look. 81% of them say they feel negative pressure in at least one area of their lives. Many feel stress from social media and their parents and coaches.
I think parents can really encourage a few things. One is sleep, protected bedtime. We need that.
Without phones.
Without phones. And giving your kid a hobby that has nothing to do with succeeding, right? That is not about putting it on social media. So finding and investing in a hobby for your child where there's a sense of mastery.
Experts also recommend parents encourage teens to get more face-to-face time with friends, exercise, and spend more time in nature. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, one major automotive manufacturing company is laying off approximately 1,000 workers.
And the weekend is here, and we'll tell you about it coming up in just a few minutes.